And man, we got a hell of a fight for this next fight. Jonathan Martinez taking on Adrian Yanez. This is a fight that I feel like should have been on UFC Noche, but shit, man. I mean, we're getting it now and definitely excited for this fight. Two strikers, two guys that extremely fun to watch and prospects that are kind of right outside that top 15, top 10 barrier, and they're trying to break their way in to fight those top guys. And we just saw Adrian Yanez actually fight one of those guys his last fight with Raw Font, suffered his first UFC loss, got pushed back, and now he's having to fight another prospect in Jonathan Martinez to prove that he needs to stop fighting these prospects and fight another guy like Raw Font. That was just an off night, and he's going to be back at the top. But Jonathan Martinez, he is 9-3 in the UFC, a really phenomenal record, and won 5 fights in a row. He separated himself from that upset loss to Davey Grant where he was knocked out, and now he's right around the top 10 himself. I mean, he's coming off some upset wins. He's coming off beating Nurmagomedov. He beat Cub Swanson, who's a legend in the game. So Martinez has been doing his thing, and he's been beating guys that people don't want to fight. Like he fought that Georgian dude that I can't remember his name, but undefeated Georgian guy. He beat him. He beat Saeed Nurmagomedov, obviously. So he's been taking on these tough fights, and he's been doing well. And this is no different matchup. This is another real tough one. But, yeah, great fight stylistically. I mean, Adrian Yanez, you got a guy that's real slick boxing, and he's taking on a guy that's a real nice kicker. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, you look at Martinez, he's southpaw. He does a really good job manipulating distance, trying to land those pull counters with his hands, and then land a lot of kicks, calf kicks. I think in this fight he needs to take a page out of his buddy's playbook, Chris Gutierrez, who is also fighting on this card. So they obviously have been training together quite often, I believe. And Medeiros just dominated on contender series as well. So Factory X has had a lot of guys getting ready recently, but I just feel like Martinez, he has more weapons to work with in this fight, and that's what he needs to do. I mean, he needs to take a page out of Gutierrez's book, in my opinion, because he needs to use a lot more movement. He doesn't need to kind of just try to control the center as much against Yanez, because Yanez is going to have the speed advantage, and if he can land clean on Martinez's chin, I think Martinez has kind of shown a susceptibility to getting hit clean. He doesn't have the greatest chin, in my opinion. But if he can stick and move and use those kicks, I think that he definitely is going to be able to have a lot of success. And another thing, the difference between Gutierrez and Martinez is a lot more willing, like I said, to kind of sit down, throw round kicks, control the center, and be a little bit more aggressive. And I think that's going to pay dividends in this fight as well. I feel like Yanez, he doesn't have the best kicking defense. You see that in certain fights, like his fight with Davey Grant, he kept parrying the body kicks and the front kicks. And if he does that against Martinez, man, he might get switch kick to the head, front kick to the face. And I think Martinez is just a lot slicker kicker. And Yanez, he's a counter striker. Like, I think to beat Martinez, you got to make it really ugly. You got to pressure. You got to throw combinations. And Yanez does have that ability, but it's just going to be if he's going to be able to get past the kicks before sustaining enough damage where he's not capable of doing it anymore, because that's not usually his style. He's not usually the guy that's going to come in, fight reckless like a Davey Grant and throw a lot of volume and be awkward and throw in like combinations. He wants to slip and rip off the jab. He wants to look for these clean 1-2 shot combinations where he's landing on the chin. He's not wasting anything. And if he does that in this fight, I just think Martinez is going to beat him on the numbers, because he's going to be more dynamic. He's going to be throwing kicks. He's going to be doing, in my opinion, a little bit more damage, because he's going to be able to be throwing the more harder weapons. But it's just if Yanez does dig in there and make it a dogfight and touch Martinez's chin, I think he could have success. But another thing that I think Martinez could bring that no one's really talking about is what he brought in his last fight, and that's mixing in some grappling, pushing Yanez against the cage, maybe taking him down a time or two like he did against Saeed, because Yanez hasn't necessarily had that tested in a long time, and a lot of his previous losses have been through that. So personally, I just think that Martinez is the more dynamic striker, and I honestly think he could land a head kick knockout in this fight, but due to the most of his fights being decisions, I'm going to say it's a decision win, but Yanez, he's also coming off a knockout loss, so I don't know exactly if he's going to be willing to have the game plan that I think he needs to have to beat Martinez, so that's why I'm going to pick Martinez to get the win in this fight.